This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by a fellow Baggies fan, Richie Woodhall here in Saudi Arabia. Richie, good to see you. Before we come on to all that football talk, how you doing? How you finding your seat?
Yeah, brilliant. It's really good out here. It's a massive fight, isn't it? So and the atmosphere is really starting to build. Baggies fan, so he's one of the lads.
Richie, I know we'd love to talk about football, but let's start off with the reason we are here. The biggest fight of the last 25 years. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, mate. Just doesn't come round very often, does it? And I think it was Lennox who was the last champ in '99. So yeah, doesn't get bigger. This is huge. And you know, one fight that I can remember that didn't happen at the right time, that is, was Mayweather Pacquiao. That was absolutely huge, and it didn't happen at the right time. And I think it was probably 5 or 6 years past its prime, really. But this is two fighters in their prime, so it doesn't get any bigger than that.
Richie, throughout the week, people have changed their mind as to who they think is going to win. Have you been the same, or have you stuck with whatever your opinion was beforehand?
I've said all along, I've always thought that Tyson would be too big for him, and I still won't change that. You know, he's 6'9". He'll be the tallest and heaviest opponent that Alexander Usyk will have ever faced, and I think there's going to be when you go one step too far, and I think this could be it for Alexander Usyk. And I know he's a genius. I know he's absolutely brilliant, and he's come across every style possible, and he's beat them. But I just think if Tyson fights the right way, proves very awkward to get to, then I just think it will be really difficult for Usyk to land anything meaningful on him, and he'll be flitting around on the outside, and it'll be difficult. And I think Tyson will beat him. I think he'll beat him either on points or a late stoppage.
Richie, for you, if you're Alexander Usyk, looking at it conversely, what do you think the keys for him are to try and be successful?
Movement's the key here for Usyk, no question. I think he's a good mover anyway, but I think this time you'll see him move even more. He won't stand and trade, he'll move. People have been saying to me, yeah, Tyson will lean all over him and be too big for him. I don't think that'll be the case. He's not stupid enough to hold his feet. He'll be hitting and moving. But if you look at the way he boxes, Alexander Usyk, he never takes a backward step. He's got plenty of movement, but he doesn't go backwards. What he does, he goes circular around his opponents. He never goes back onto the ropes. He's very well schooled, and a great boxing education, obviously from Ukraine, Eastern Europe, where they produce really, really good amateurs. He's got all that pedigree. So his movement is very good, but it's circular, and that's what you'll see from him on the outside, trying to hit and move. But I think we'll see him probably be in top gear right from the very start.
Richie, you raised an interesting point there about Tyson trying to lean on Usyk, but you don't think Usyk will allow him to do so. A lot of people have suggested in the build-up to this fight that's going to be not necessarily a key factor, but something that Tyson will try and do to try and tire Usyk out. Do you think that will play no part come Saturday night?
It's not going to play a part at all, I don't think. The only way that'll play a part if Tyson, literally from the round one, says right, and gets on his front foot and goes after him and tries to corner him and really put the pressure on him. But if he does that, he risks getting caught coming in. So I don't think he'll do that. But then again, with Tyson, you never know. He tends to box totally the opposite to what everyone thinks he's going to do. So he might do that. I just think by going on the front foot and going at Usyk will favour that, and you're taking more risks walking onto a shot. If you're 6'9" and you stand tall, like Lennox has said Tyson's got to stand tall. And I totally agree with him. If you're standing tall, leaning back, punching long, keeping the punches straight, there's a massive gap for Usyk. He's got to close that gap. We know he's very good, but well, how good is he? I don't think he'll do it.
Richie, Tyson travelled to America 3 times to face Deontay Wilder, travelled to Germany to beat Vladimir Klitschko. He's been there and done it with everyone. Up until this week, he never admitted they saw Alexander Usyk as the toughest test. The tune changed and they admitted they do see it as Tyson's toughest test in his career so far. Do you agree now that Alexander Usyk is the toughest test of Tyson Fury's career?
As soon as the fight was made, I've always said that this will be Tyson's toughest test, most definitely. Because he's in against a very clever boxer. He's in against someone who's very similar to the way he thinks. With Tyson, I don't think he goes in there with one set of tactics. I think he just adjusts and deals with what's in front of him. And if you watch Usyk's like that as well. His movement, if you're going for him, if you're moving away from him, he seems to have an answer for everything. But he's got to have the answer this time for someone who's 6'9" and has got height and reach advantage, who's very agile on his feet. You have to remember that. He's not a 6'9" giant that just stands there and holding his feet with flat feet. He's the most agile 6'9" guy I've ever seen in the ring, Tyson Fury. Unbelievable. He can get up on his feet. That's going to be a really, really difficult. And you know what? I don't know how Alexander Usyk has actually prepared for that, because how do you get a 6'9" heavyweight who can move like Tyson Fury? There's not many of them about. So it'll be I think it'll probably be something that Alexander Usyk hasn't experienced, someone so big that's so agile. That's why I think it'll be so tough.
Richie, for whoever is victorious, their legacy will be in the history books forever. But whose do you think will stand out more? Alexander Usyk, who would have been undisputed at cruiserweight and then undisputed at heavyweight, or Tyson Fury, who has accomplished so much at heavyweight, travelled the world like we said earlier, to become undisputed? Whose legacy do you think would look a little better?
They're probably equal, aren't they, on par? Usyk's coming through from cruiserweight and then becoming, he was undisputed at cruiser, and then he becomes undisputed at heavy. I mean, that's just, that's the Evander Holyfield stuff, isn't it? He's another example. But for Tyson, from what he's come through and the breaks that he's had, and obviously the mental health issues he's had, let's not forget that was a real tough period in his life. He admits that, and he came through all that. Fought Klitschko in Germany and beat him. Gone over to America to beat Deontay Wilder. I mean, it's an unbelievable story. So, I think I wouldn't like to say who would be whose legacy is the best. I wouldn't like to say, but they're equally as good. But like I say, they're both very special people indeed.
Richie, a couple of thoughts to get your thoughts on before we wrap this up. Next weekend we just had a brief chat there. Josh Taylor, Jack Catchwell too. What's your thoughts?
Fantastic fight. Obviously, I've had a lot to do with Josh Taylor because of his Olympic cycle, so I helped him with that. So I know a lot about him. I think Jack Catchwell's a fantastic fighter. I think, it was very, very close first time. I just think that if Catchwell was going to do it, he should have got it last time. And this time, I think it'll be a different Josh Taylor. It's whether Jack can go up another level. So I think we'll see Josh Taylor go up another level. It's anyone's guess, man.
And then the week after we return to Saudi, Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang.
Yeah, fantastic. Two fighters that are coming off defeats, and yet two fighters with fantastic power. Is there one last big fight in Deontay Wilder? I'd like to think so, but Zhang, we all know what he can do. I'd probably just edge Zhang, to be quite honest.
Richie, away from home tonight, looked a better side in the first leg, never quite got the lead. Are we going to do it?
You know what, I hope we do. For our fans' sake, we've got great fans at the Albion. And if Albion can do it, it'd be something else. Because we held them at the Albion, we was unlucky, we just didn't have our finishing boots on again, missed a couple of good chances. Down there though, they might think it's an easier game, and Albion might just catch him on the break. And I just hope Thomas Asante has got his firing boots on this time and can get a goal. But yeah, again, we're up against it, but come on you baggies.
Up the baggies, Rich.